Welcome back to another video in the Web API Kit OAuth series. In this video, we're going to walk through how to connect to a Google API. First, you have to log into your console, the Google console, and create a project if you don't already have one. Once you've created a project, we're going to enable an API that we want to use. In this example, we're going to enable the Google Plus API to retrieve a user's profile. This is already enabled, so we can go back and create credentials. Before we can create credentials, we have to set up an OAuth consent screen. We're going to call this GP test. Everything else is optional, and save it. Now we can create an OAuth Client ID credentials for a web application. Call it anything you want, and here we will enter the redirect URI provided in your scene. Okay, so now we can create it. Now we're going to take this client ID and copy it over into our project. And we're going to do the same thing with the secret. Everything else looks to be correct. The scope is correct. And we can verify that by looking at the documentation. The documentation can either be found in Tools, Web API Kit, Plugins, Google API, and Directory, which will bring up a listing of all the available Google APIs along with links to scopes, the discovery document, which is the definition of the API, and documentation. Now the alternative is to go to the library, look up our API, and try this API. And this is actually a good way to test it. What we're probably most interested in is people get. And we can see that the special value of me is going to retrieve our profile. So we're going to type in me and authorize and execute. And because we want to retrieve only the profile, we are going to use this scope right here. And here is our response. We want to turn this response into a C# class. So we're going to copy this response and find our favorite JSON to C# class generator. Paste the JSON in here and generate. And this looks correct. We would then take this and copy it into our project. And you can see I've already created a class that we can drop into our scene. Here is the response. Here is our HTTP operation. You can see that we're using the default Unity provider, and this is the URI we're going to hit. It's going to be a HTTP GET, and the response is going to be deserialized into an instance of GP plus me response class. This attribute basically tells Web API Kit to deserialize the JSON and assign it to the response field. Then down here in our start method, we're going to new up the GP plus me operation, call send on it, and display our display name to the console. So let's give this a try. I'm going to clear the console and press play. Now this is interesting. The operation returned a 403 forbidden. The details of the error are that we are trying to connect to this API without authorization. That's correct. So this is a little bit different than normal Google APIs that return a 401 unauthorized when there is no access token provided. The way we fix this is we're going to change the authorized operation when status is forbidden or 403. This will trigger the interceptor to go out and get an access token when a 403 error is encountered. So let's try it again. And here is our consent form. And the backend server exchanged the authorization code for an access token. Now when we return to Unity, Unity is going to retrieve that access token and call the operation again this time with an access token. If we scroll all the way down, here's my output, here's the JSON response, and we can see that the JSON converter was applied successfully. If we scroll up a little bit, we can see that the request was made with an access token. So this is it for this demonstration. I hope you enjoy the series, and if you have any more questions about any of the features, please feel free to reach out. Thank you.